Hello everybody and welcome back to joY. I am here again in my little at-home wellness studio to practice mindfulness with you. And if you haven't been with us before, or maybe you have but you have forgotten, then let's say what mindfulness means, or at least one way that we could describe it. So we could say that mindfulness is the ability to pay attention on purpose to the present moment and to all of your thoughts and feelings that are related to that, but without, at first, any response or reaction. So in this way, mindfulness creates a pause between whatever is happening, what is being said or what is being done, and our response to that. You can imagine how, especially in stressful situations where something is happening, maybe that we don't really enjoy, you could see how this just noticing and pausing for a moment before we speak or act could help us act and speak with maybe better intentions, which are better choices for that situation, so that possibly we could find some solutions, or at the very least just not make the situation worse. So mindfulness does not ask you not to feel your feelings. You can feel your feelings. Anger, frustration, jealousy, all the feelings that we always have. All of us have those feelings, and even if we don't really like to have them, we're allowed to have them, but we want to notice that we're having them and see if we can still make some good choices for ourselves and others, even when we're having some feelings that don't feel so great. Okay, so that's maybe how we could describe mindfulness at its most basic. And then in the past sessions that we've done together, we have practiced mindfulness in two different ways. One is that we have practiced a mindful pause. So we've actually really practiced that pause that we want to have in our everyday lives. And we did that through the mindful pause, which is also called meditation. And then we did something very similar to the mindful pause, but it was a mindful walk. And that's almost the same thing, but we walk gently as we take this pause. Today, what we are going to do is called mindful movement, and you might also know this as yoga. If we were going to do a whole mindful movement or yoga class, that would be very long. It would be at least a half an hour and usually more than an hour. We're just going to practice one mindful movement together today, and it's called cat and cow. It sounds like two movements. It's actually probably two movements, but we call it cat-cow, and it goes together to become one sort of flow of movement. And so we are going to practice that in just a moment. Most of you probably already know what it looks like and how to do it. But what I would ask you to do today is to do it very mindfully. So we're going to try as best we can to create a situation where we don't have a lot of other distractions. I'm in a pretty quiet, empty space in my home. If you don't have a place as quiet and as empty as this, that's okay. You just want to make sure that you're in a place where you will be able to hopefully ignore any distractions. So if you hear other people, or you hear a television, or you hear a dog barking, you won't need to respond to that, at least for just a couple of minutes. And then you just want some comfy clothes on, so some clothes that will move, that your body can easily move in. And then you're just going to bring all of your awareness to these movements that we are doing. You're just going to pay attention to your body moving. And you're going to add some breath to that. So as we move, I'll give you some ideas of how you might breathe. And you can do it differently. You just want to make a choice about how you are going to breathe as you move. And then while you are giving your attention to breathing and to moving, it's okay to also notice that thoughts and maybe feelings are coming in and out of your awareness also. And you're going to notice that that's happening. But instead of acting on any of those thoughts or feelings, you're just going to bring your awareness back to the mindful movement your body is doing, and back to your inhales and your exhales. Okay, so let's try cat and cow. All right, so the first thing we want to do, and I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see a little bit better, and it doesn't have to look exactly like this for you. Every body is different, so your body is different than mine, so it's going to look a little bit different, but basically like this. You are going to start in a tabletop, so you're going to take your wide palms and you're going to plant them down right about under your shoulders, and then you're going to take your knees and bring them apart about right under your hips. So that your spine and your neck, because you want to look down at the ground, but keep your head up, your spine and your neck are in line. And then I have my toes curled under, but you could also flatten your feet on the earth if you want to. Okay, and so you're just going to start out in this position and just see how this feels. Maybe just take a breath in and out right here in tabletop. And then we're going to move a little. So we're going to breathe in and go into a cat pose where we get a really round back. And then we're going to breathe out, go into a cow pose where we have quite a dip in our spines, where our belly kind of falls towards the earth, but our hands and our knees stay exactly as they are. So maybe you want to do it with me, or maybe you want to watch for a moment and see my example of cat and cow, and then try it for yourself. So I'm going to look down at the earth, but my neck is in line with my spine. And I'm going to take a deep breath in, and as I do, I'm going to round my spine, tuck my belly towards my head as I drop my head. And then as I exhale, I'm going to drop my belly down towards the earth and lift my tailbone. That's kind of like the butt. You lift the tailbone up towards the sky, but you don't lift your knees, and then you gaze up a little bit too. And then you try it again. So you breathe in, you get really round, tuck your belly button towards your nose, drop your head. And then go in the opposite direction. Lift your tailbone towards the sky. Lift your chin and your heart forward so you have a dip in your spine. Your belly is dropping down towards the earth. And then you just keep going through this at your own pace, breathing in and out, and noticing your thoughts and feelings as you do this, and noticing your body. And so I'm going to get out of your way and let you practice that on your own, and I'll just give you one more reminder. So you're going to start in your tabletop position with your palms really wide, so your fingers spread right under your shoulders, and then your knees are about the same distance apart as your hips, so your knees are not touching, and they're lined up right under your hips. And then you breathe in, you get really round in your spine, and you tuck your belly button towards your nose as you drop your head. And then as you exhale, you go in the opposite direction. So you now lift your tailbone towards the sky, but you don't lift up your knees. You drop your belly down towards the earth. You lift your chin and your heart. And you can certainly change the breath. Some people like to start with the cow pose instead, and then go into the rounded spine cat pose, and they breathe a little differently. So you can change it up to suit how you would like to breathe through those moments, but you are going to be mindful as you can. So ignoring distractions around you and just moving your body in a way that brings all of your attention to your movements and to your breath, letting thoughts and feelings come in if they do, but then trying to have them go right back out again, maybe with the breath. Okay, enjoy.